Hello, friends. Back at the last possible minute again. Excuse my low energy. I'm a little bit tired, feeling a little bit messed up. I meant to put this video out in the wee hours of the morning sometime last night, but ended up KOing completely. Without further ado, moving on. UFC Fight Night, Lemos versus Vanderoba. I keep on saying Vanderoba, it's Jandiroba. I've seen this chick fight before too. Now, last week I was saying there's a lot of shit talking, every week now about, oh god, we're getting this kind of card, oh god, I'm gonna boycott this card's dog shit. Last week I was saying everyone needs to chill with that. I maybe spoke a little bit too soon. This is one of those cards that you can kind of get up in arms about, but actually, I don't think it's going to be too bad. What I think is actually going to be the worst thing about the card is that there's really not going to be a lot of finishes. I think actually most of these fights are going to go the distance. Save for maybe a few, but you never know. You never really know. Moving on, about to just hop straight into it with the early prelims. Heavyweight men's bout, Mohamed Usman, brother of Kamaru Usman, versus Thomas the Train Peterson. Now, Mo Usman has actually came through a couple times for me on this channel. I kind of fuck with Mo Usman. He's not dog shit, nowhere near as talented as his brother. He's not horrible, though, and he's a big dude, 6'2", 79-inch reach. Thomas Peterson is a much younger fighter, kind of have a similar level of experience, but you might remember Thomas Peterson from making his debut against Jamal Pogues. I picked Jamal Pogues to win that fight. He won that fight. He kind of dog-walked Thomas Peterson. The one thing that I remember about Thomas Peterson from that Jamal Pogues fight is that he was a dirty, cheating rat bastard, and he fought fucking like a filthy, dirty rat. Like a filthy, dirty rat. I remember him going for the eyes multiple times. Like, it was like crazy shit. Crazy shit. Little rat fuck. Fuck Thomas Peterson. If we're lucky, Mo Usman knocks him out. If we're very lucky, Thomas Peterson gets one shot, like, off rip. I don't think that's going to happen, though. I got Mohamed Usman going the distance, winning this one by decision. I think really, probably he'll end up working Thomas Peterson against the cage. Ideally, Thomas Peterson doesn't come out looking like he just, like, dumped all of his fucking stats into agility and he's not bouncing on his feet, fucking sticking moving on Mo Usman. Hopefully that doesn't happen. I don't think it will. Mo Usman's the pick. Fairly confident in that one. Moving on, Luana Carolina versus Lucy Pudilova. Now, Lucy Pudilova, girl. Jesus Christ, what are we going to do with you? 14-9 as a professional. We've seen worse in the UFC. But 3-7 in the UFC? That's rough as fuck. She's moving down to flyweight from bantamweight. Her last fight was at bantamweight. And honestly, unless she comes out looking like a completely different fighter, I'm expecting her to kind of get dog-walked in this one. Oh, God. I was not showing you my room there. I just thought that something caused the recording to stop. Excuse me. Luana Carolina is the pick here. I think especially as the fight goes on, as both chicks get tired, Luana Carolina might be able to bring it back a little bit. Both chicks low-key trash. It is what it is. Luana Carolina is not... That's the thing. Luana's weird like that. She's low-key trash. Like, low-key. But sometimes she's not. Again, we go with Luana Carolina. I think that's kind of calm. Moving on to kind of the first spooky hours pick, which is Loic Rajabov versus Trey Ogden. I almost want to go with like an emotional pick and go with Trey Ogden here. I'm not going to do that, though. I'm going with Loic Rajabov to get this one done by decision again. Because Trey Ogden is actually hard to... Well, Trey Ogden doesn't get knocked out. I'll say that. It's not like people be finishing Trey Ogden all the time like that. And Trey Ogden has shown us that he actually has something. Maybe not anything special, but he's a tactical fighter, and I think he really understands the game. He's transitioned a lot more into coaching dudes, and he's had more success with that. So I think Trey Ogden is very knowledgeable about fighting. He knows a lot about the fight game, and that definitely helps. Excuse me. That definitely helps. Loic Rajabov came through for me in his last fight versus, I want to say the dude's name was Kareem something Al-Salwadi. I want to say something Kareem Al-Salwadi. It was something like that. Knocked him the fuck out. Kind of out of nowhere, too. It was very nice. It was very nice. Trey Ogden dog walked. Was this his last fight? His last fight was not against Kurt Holloway, but he dog walked Kurt Holloway. Something fierce. Let's see. I'm going to go with Loic Rajabov. I'm not changing up on this one. If Trey Ogden comes out and embarrasses Loic, he embarrasses Loic, and that's really it, you know. Something spooky, indeed. Something spooky, indeed. Trey Ogden might have a minor size advantage. A little bit of a reach advantage. 72-inch reach compared to Loic's 69. I think that's going to be a fun fight, though. I think that's going to be a fun fight. Moving on. Another fight that I'm fairly confident in, and actually I'm not even too sure this one's going to be particularly good to watch. Miranda Maverick versus Dione Barbosa. Both of these chicks are talented. Miranda Maverick a lot more talented and a lot more proven, even though she's also a lot younger than Dione Barbosa. Dione the Witch Barbosa, I had her picked in her last fight versus Ernesta Karakic. She did win versus Ernesta Karakic, but there was a major problem, and the problem was cardio. That's a big reason. I also think Miranda Maverick is going to be able to control Dione Barbosa, but the cardio was so crazy. Like, both chicks gassed. Dione Barbosa gassed hard, though. She came back, and she was able to get it done. But I don't think Miranda Maverick's going to gas out like that. I think Miranda Maverick was also, like, pissed that she didn't get her last fight versus Tracy Cortez. You know, I think she's going to want to make a statement with this one. I don't think she's going to make a big statement, but I do think she's going to win. I think she's going to win. As simple as that. Dione Barbosa does have some power in her hands, and she is dangerous, especially in the beginning parts of the fight. Surprisingly, not the biggest reach advantage. Only an 1.5 inch reach advantage for Dione Barbosa at 66.5 inches, compared to Miranda Maverick's 65-inch reach. 3 inches of height, though. Dione's 5'6", Miranda is 5'3". I still got Miranda. I'm fairly confident on that one, too. Again, by decision. So far, all of these fights, everyone that I've picked, I have them winning by decision. First 4 fights, I think, are going the distance. This next fight, I think, is also going the distance because both dudes are so dog shit. Like, you see that sometimes with, like, the female fighters, unfortunately to say. You have 2 fighters that are so dog shit that they can't, like, they get finished by other people, but they're so dog shit they can't finish each other. It's craziness, man. Sometimes that happens in soccer, like association football as well. Like, you have bum-ass teams that can't score. It's craziness. You have teams that can't score goals and then they play each other. Like, that shit's crazy to me. It's crazy to me. You got people that can't hurt each other, people that can't finish other people, and they fight each other. It's nutty. Moving on, Brian Kelleher versus Cody Gibson. I'm going with Cody Gibson straight off of the size. Brian Kelleher got not knocked the fuck out. It actually looked a little funny to me, but he got knocked out by Cody Garbrandt in his last fight. Bit of an old man. 37 years old. Both of these dudes are old and washed. 37 years old for Brian Kelleher, 36. And that's an old 36 for Cody Gibson. That's an old 37 for Brian Kelleher. He's about to be 38. Cody Gibson should be gigantic versus Brian Kelleher, though. What scares me, though, is, like, this one seems logical. You know, you go back this. But then we think about just the Miles Johns fight that Cody Gibson just had. You know, Brian Kelleher got dog walked, but we really didn't even see much out of him. He still has an 8-8 UFC record, though. Like, that's what scares me, man. That's what fucking scares me about that. Like, we have to just trust in the size difference. We just have to. Okay, even though we trusted last time and it didn't work, I'm going to trust it again. I'm going to trust it again. I don't feel good saying Brian Kelleher. I don't feel good picking Brian Kelleher. A bum-ass fight. Moving on to another good fight, or at least a fight that I think is going to end in a finish. Haider Emil versus Jung Young Lee, 2 dudes that I've backed in the past in their previous outing. Haider Emil faced, I forget who. Haider Emil faced Fernie Garcia, right? We're going to talk about that a little bit. Versus Jung Young Lee, who faced Blake Builder in his last one. Now, was it Blake Builder? Am I freaking out? Am I tweaking out? I think he did face Blake Builder in his last one, and I picked him to beat Blake Builder, but that was spooky as fuck. The pick is going to be Jung Young Lee, right? I've gone back and forth on this one because Haider Emil, I remembered as actually maybe having a lot better cardio and conditioning, but the thing that I didn't like about Haider Emil, I had to rewatch my live reaction on Haider Emil's fight to remember this, but Haider Emil has a really good chin, but he relies on it straight up. Like he's willing to take shots in even combinations. He's willing to trade them. You know, and sometimes he doesn't land them back, but he does take them. He takes them fucking a lot. Jung Young Lee, I think he'll have enough of a chin to take at least one shot from Haider Emil, but the thing with Jung Young Lee is the conditioning, you know. If this fight goes later on, I'm actually going to be very, very concerned. He got it done versus Blake Bilder, but I'm going to be concerned. I do think that Haider Emil is going to be really, like, overzealous, very eager to knock out Jung Young Lee, and he's going to get caught himself. If that doesn't happen, I think it's just going to be the fact that he's tanking punches. I think Haider Emil is going to tank too many punches. I think he won't be able to handle the power eventually. Everyone's chin gets cracked eventually, right? So, go with Jung Young Lee. Again, not extremely confident with that one because Haider Emil could knock Jung Young Lee the fuck out. But the reverse is what I'm thinking is going to happen. Moving on, halfway through. Doo Ho Choi versus Billy Algeo. Bill Algeo, man. This is not a rough pick, but I'm going with Bill Algeo mainly because Doo Ho Choi has been extremely inactive, and also on top of that, like, no momentum. Extremely bad momentum. Like, at one point, he would have been 13-1 before getting into the UFC. And then with all of his UFC fights basically combined, he's now 14-4-1. Like, that's not a bad record, actually. But if you look on paper, like, how he loses these fights, the fact that they were all consecutive, including the draw at the end. Like, he hasn't won a fight in many years. Like, many, many years. Like, you know, maybe he comes out looking like a madman versus Bill Algeo and smokes him. And that really wouldn't be too far from, like, stuff that we've seen from Bill Algeo in the past. But I'm relying on the size of Bill Algeo here, even though Doo Ho Choi is not a small guy by any means. Both kind of similar in age. I think we just have to trust in the skills and activity of Bill Algeo over Doo Ho Choi. Simple as that. Moving on, this will kind of be, I guess, the emotional pick of the card. Moving on, we got a flyweight bout, Cody Durden versus Bruno Silva. Cody Durden, my brother, we meet again, man. I like Cody. I think he got cheated by Tagir Ulanbekov, even though he got finished. He did get finished, don't get me wrong. There's a bit of history with that Cody Durden-Tagir Ulanbekov fight. I picked Cody Durden to win that fight in one of the OG emotional picks on this channel, man. And there were times where I was like, it's completely possible that he gets this one done, that he finishes bum-ass Tagir. Hurt Tagir at one point on the feet. They were trading blows. Tagir was just a rat, dirty bastard and kept on hooking his feet in the cage at any opportunity he could. He grabbed the fence multiple times. Ref was like, please stop that. He was just like, okay, sure. He would hop off, then hop back on 10 seconds later. He never got penalized for it, and it actually ultimately helped him get the submission. It helped him anchor himself on the back of Cody Durden and get that rear naked finish. He was cheating all the way, but he did get the finish. Talking about Tagir Ulanbekov, if you go back into my videos on this channel, you'll see it's like a SpongeBob meme that I remixed, essentially, where it's like, let's kill Tagir Ulanbekov. It's because of that. One of the oldest videos on this channel in terms of fight picks, and it is basically a Tagir Ulanbekov hate cope video. Fuck Tagir Ulanbekov. One of the one of the OG shorts on this channel, the OG live reactions, is me reacting to Cody Durden versus Tagir Ulanbekov and fucking coping. Just straight up fucking coping. But I think he's going to get it done here versus Bruno Silva. Man, Bruno Silva, kind of a dangerous dude. It is spooky. But Cody Durden is dangerous himself. I like Cody Durden. If anything, you can call it the emotional pick. We're going with Cody Durden over Bruno Silva to get that one done. I'll say by decision because I don't know how that one goes. But there could be a finish somewhere in that fight. Moving on, Kurt Holobaugh versus Kanan Krzyzewski. I hope I said that right. Krzyzewski versus Kurt Holobaugh. Washed. On one hand, you have someone that's washed as fucking Kurt Holobaugh, and then you have a nobody, an absolute nobody that got murked by Yves Brenner. Who is good. I always rated Yves Brenner, so that's something to note, but he did get murked by him. Am I going to go with the younger dude who just has a better chance, I think, of murking him? I am, actually. Kenan Krzyzewski is going to have a slight size advantage over Kurt Holobaugh. I think he's younger. I think he's going to be faster. Kurt Holobaugh is actually not dog shit in terms of skill. It's really just as a result of his fights. You know, it's just the sum of his body of work. We're saying he's washed. I'm saying he's washed. Jesus Christ. Vocal fry coming out the ass. I could see this fight easily ending up in a KO for either dude, also a sub for either dude, but I do think Kenan Krzyzewski is going to get this one done. We'll say by decision again. Moving on to a fight that I'm actually very excited for again. This is like one of the 2 or 3 fights that I'm really excited for that I also think is going to end in a finish. Steve Garcia versus Seungwoo Choi. Man, some of you guys are starting to know. Some of y'all are starting to tap the fuck in. Steve Garcia is him, bro. I've been trying to tell people Steve Garcia is a fucking dog. He's a dog. Oh my god, bro. One of my favorite, one of the best little like underdog bets and picks was Steve Garcia versus Melquizael Costa. He was a juicy underdog in that motherfucker. People were like, oh, Melquizael's milk coffee. And then he got fucking put out bad. Like, that shit was nutty. Steve Garcia coming. He's bringing you spooky power and insane heart. He is a dog. He does not give up. He fucking puts people away, too. And people are starting to catch on to Steve Garcia. I was hoping that everyone that still does picks, they were still sleeping on this guy, man. Because, you know, people really sleep on Steve Garcia, for real. Until he comes and he knocks your pick out either brutally in a comeback fashion or just off-rip dominates them. Then you're like, oh, shit, who the fuck is this guy? Steve Garcia. And people are like, oh, you know, he doesn't really look like a tough guy. He's a pretty big guy. He's 6 feet tall. 73-inch reach, 4-2 in the UFC with multiple knockouts. Come on, stop playing with Steve Garcia, for real. Seungwoo Choi, not bad. I'll say not bad, but no, I think he is nowhere near Steve Garcia. I think Steve Garcia, it's ultimately a bit of a race to the chin. Like, someone might just get knocked the fuck out. It's really going to be who lands first, but I think Steve Garcia lands first more often than not. And it doesn't have to be to the head. That's the best part for Steve Garcia. It really does not have to be to the head. He can KO people to the body. He has done it before. He has done that shit before. Many times, actually, too. Many times. Going with Steve Garcia there by knockout / technical knockout / disqualification. We'll say in round 2. Round 2 for Steve Garcia. That was the co-main event. There was a fight that got canceled. I was actually also looking forward to this fight somewhat. Brad Tavares versus, what's his name? Jun Yun Park. The Iron Turtle is his nickname. I'm actually a fan of the Iron Turtle. I rate the Iron Turtle actually quite highly. I low-key think, I remember feeling like he got robbed versus Andre Muniz. Maybe he didn't get robbed versus Andre Muniz, but I remember feeling like he got robbed versus Andre Muniz, and I liked everything that I've seen from the Iron Turtle. I would have picked the Iron Turtle to beat Brad Tavares in this one, but that fight is canceled, so no more on that. Moving on. The main event, Amandinha Lemos versus Virna Carcara. I don't know how you say that nickname. Carcera. I don't know. Jandiroba. Amanda Lemos is a dangerous woman, especially with the hands. She actually is very fucking powerful, you know, at 37 years old, too. Not going to have a huge reach advantage or size advantage over Virna. At least she shouldn't on paper. I'm going with Virna Jandiroba, though, and I'll tell you why. I'm going into the MMA math. I'm using a little bit of MMA math on this one, but fuck it. Amanda Lemos, man, even though she's a good striker, right? She got dog-walked, specifically in the grappling versus Weili Zhang. I know it's Weili Zhang, but she got really dog-walked, like held down. I could see Virna doing the same thing or worse, just in terms of the grappling control. I think that's how this one's going to go. I think it's going to be a decision for Virna Jandiroba. Yeah, I think she's basically going to hold her down, work her up against the cage, eventually get her down to the ground, you know. She doesn't need to do much to take these rounds, Virna does. She just has to control the entire time, you know, land a little bit of ground and pound, move position. Like, that's really it. I think maybe we're going to see a moment of danger where Amanda Lemos gets back up to her feet in the later rounds and then maybe hurts Virna a little bit, but then ultimately nothing happens of it, or she finishes her. Who knows? Who knows? Veer knows the pick. Feeling fairly confident about all these picks. Super quick recap plus method of victory for you. First off, we got Mo Usman winning that one by decision. The one I dread Carolina winning that one by decision. Loic Rajabov winning by decision. Miranda Maverick, decision. Cody Gibson, decision. Jung Young Lee, the Korean Tiger. Here we go. We got a little round 2 KO TKO DQ from Jung Young Lee. Who was after that for some reason? I do not have them written. Then we got Billy Algeo. I'll say by decision. Cody Durden, by decision. We'll say by decision again. And a lot of decisions because I really see a lot of these fights going the distance. Then we got Kanan Kraszewski. I'm going with Kanan Kraszewski. I'll say again by decision. Do I say KO? No, I'm just going to say decision. Fuck it. Steve Garcia, round 2, KO TKO for Steve Garcia. Oh yeah, buddy. Oh yeah. And then a calm decision for Virna Jandiroba. Pretty much it. Hopefully this is a nice quick video. Hopefully some people get to see it before these fights come out. Got a lot of, not a lot, but relatively a lot of views on my previous fight recap, which was the UFC Denver recap. Tracy Cortez versus Rose Namajunas, from baddie to saddie, as I said in the thumbnail. Hilarious night of fights. Great night of fights. Hopefully this card comes close, honestly. I don't think it will, but hopefully it does. You always got to be hopeful at least, you know. Let's see. Is that it? I think that's it. Let you go. Hopefully this one's nice and quick. Probably the same average time of my other one, somewhere around half an hour. Let's see. Just for you. Just for you. I'm going to show my people in the next one too, but just for you, I'll show you this new lighter. Regions Squeeze lighter from 1947. Shit costs more than your life. When it works. Not bad. Jesus Christ, man. As always, if you like the video, like the video. Dislike the video if you dislike the video. Let me leave a comment telling me why you dislike the video, why you like the video, your picks, who you got in this fight. Any of your thoughts on anything that I've said. If you just want to talk, throw in a little comment down there too. Subscribe if you want to see more. As always, much love, big kiss.